Hello everybody, a warm welcome to Wisdom from North, a place for you to expand your consciousness. Today I would like to bring up the subject of the imposter syndrome, so stay tuned. So feeling like a fake, or feeling like that we're not the real deal or not being authentic is something I think a lot of people are experiencing. And this has been coming up now for me especially because I've been contemplating a lot on following our soul's calling, that topic, because tomorrow I'm actually starting my 8 days journey of Discover Your Soul's Calling, which is a free event that you are so welcome to join. You can find the link below. And we will have 8 days together where we dive into what our soul's calling can be, which from my belief goes hand in hand with your soul expansion. And this is my calling. It feels like it is. And I think we have many types of callings, and a calling can always evolve and change when you have mastered something. But I definitely feel that this is what is on my heart these days, is inspiring others to actually move forward and step into their soul power and speak their truth. So in preparing these 4 workshops that I'm going to have, I started thinking about this imposter syndrome because I think that might be something that's holding a lot of people back, and it has been holding me back for a long time. And I love YouTube, so I love finding YouTubers, especially spiritual YouTubers that are sharing their wisdom and reflections, and I learn a lot from them. And I've noticed that it seems like some of the guys have so much confidence when they're talking, and it seems a bit more easy for them. And I noticed that we women often more excuse ourselves. We hold ourselves back. We're more afraid of speaking our truth. And that is not a coincidence. We have a history where we have been suppressed for so many years, thousands of years. So this is kind of in our cells. And there has been studies on this, that women have less self-confidence than men. So we kind of have this extra challenge in a way that we need to work with. But that doesn't mean that we should hold ourselves back. However, what I think is very important is that we talk a lot about it. That if we feel that we have this shame, we feel fake, we feel this imposter syndrome, we should talk about it, because then we understand that we're not the only ones, and that can help us actually push through that. So I'm going to share with you some steps that have really helped me in my work. And I'm also going to share some personal stories, because I have always been afraid of shining too much. It happened from I was very young that I got all this attention. And I also have these childhood memories where I had these curls, I had blonde hair, and these 2 girls were fighting over me because they wanted to play with me. And I thought it was a bit strange. I didn't understand. I was like 4 years old, that they needed to fight over me. And then what happened was that all of a sudden they teamed up against me. So all of a sudden I was excluded from the group. And I never forgot that, because it hurt me so much, because I hadn't done anything wrong. I had just been cute. I was perhaps too cute as a child. And in being that, I in a way got punished. And I actually got that in my meditation today. So I went back and did some inner child work and healed that. Inner child work is what I call a small portal. Portal is areas and practices that we can look further into that would help us on our expansion. That is another story. I will tell you about that another time. And especially if you sign up to my event, I will talk about the portals. However, back to shining too much. That has been a fear of mine. And I've been doing interviews on YouTube for 7 years now. And it's been a bit safe to hide behind the microphone, being like the one that asks questions, and then the other person can answer. So I wanted to push through that, because I felt that after 20 years on this spiritual journey, and after interviewing so many people, having gained so much knowledge, I wanted to share this urge of a need and inspiration for sharing myself came forward. And that was a big step for me. But I did it, so I started to make some blogs on my channel. And when we put our head, in the limelight, when we step into more who we are, the universe will give us some tests. You can call it whatever you want, but to simplify it, we can call it a test. But challenges do come up. And for me, it was one comment on YouTube that really made me reflect a bit and made me feel not so good. And the comment was something like, oh, where is your interviews now? I used to love your channel and now you're doing blogs and it seems that it's just about your ego. And I was like, oh, that really hurt, because from my perspective, it was anything but my ego, because here I was actually stepping into more of who I was, daring to do so, and it was really scary for me to speak my truth. And then hearing that this was my ego, like my ego would have been to lie on the couch and do nothing. My ego, or being in the ego, would be not to start Wisdom from North, not earning money at all in the beginning. Ego would be like not daring to write to spiritual teachers that I didn't know and be like, hey, do you want to be on my show? Or ego would be like not daring to believe in myself and holding back on the things I had to share. Because my intention with Wisdom from North has always been to help that person that I was 20 years ago that really needed this information, that really needed this knowledge. And I've seen that people who have seen my videos are inspired by me. They have started doing their own shows, which I love, because then what we're doing is helping each other. Stepping into more who you are is the opposite of ego, because when you transform, when you step into your soul power, when you shine your light, you help others to do the same. Like, I would never have dared to do this if I hadn't been on YouTube, being inspired by other transformational teachers, hearing stories of others who had dared to move through their obstacles. I would never have dared. They made me believe in myself. So for me, standing here is me being of service. And I'm saying this because I know so many of you are holding yourself back because you don't dare. You have so much to give. You have gifts, talents, and abilities, and you're holding back because you don't dare. And I'm going to dive deep into this in this 8 days journey that I'm going to have. But I want to share like 4 steps that have helped me when it comes to imposter syndrome. And one of them, step number 1, is to teach what you need to learn yourself. So I interviewed Neil Donald Walsh many years ago, and I asked him, so how is it going with your spiritual journey and your spiritual development? And he was very honest. He was so beautiful. He was like, that is one of those things that I find difficult, or he said something like that I find difficult to speak about, or that I'm not satisfied with in myself, because I wish that I was much more evolved. I wish that I had this ability to practice more. And he was very vulnerable with saying that he wished basically that he was more evolved than he was. But then he said, but you teach what you need to learn. And I took that to heart, because when he said that, after helping millions of people around the world with this Conversation with God books, then I, with my small channel, could share what my heart is telling me to share. Because my perspective and my truth is that no one is perfect. All these amazing spiritual people around the world, they are human. They are human. They make mistakes. They still have an ego. I've been to India, where these so-called evolved teachers were teaching us, about awakening. And one of them, I remember, was really condescending towards me. And I've spoken about this before. I never forget it. At that time, I kind of accepted it. But looking back at it, I was thinking he couldn't have been that evolved, because when you are an evolved person, from my perspective, You're in your heart. You speak to other people with respect. You come from this heart place. So looking back at it, I don't think it was that evolved. Maybe he had a lot of wisdom to share, but definitely he had a lot of things to work with. So don't expect the spiritual teachers to be perfect, because they're not. They're just sharing what has helped for them, because they really want to help you. But that doesn't mean that they have mastered what they're sharing. All right, so the next thing is that when you feel like, oh, I have something to share, but I feel like this fake, I should have come so far, I should have been this, or should have been that, or should have been studying this deeper and had some more knowledge about I should have done some more research. Shine the light on that person you want to share something with. Like, imagine your dream client, dream customer, dream viewer, your favorite person that you want to speak to. Shine light on them and speak to them from your heart. Put all your focus on that person and share your wisdom. And then imagine that message is really going into that person's heart and helping that person. To focus on that bigger perspective, that you are doing service and you focus on those people you're going to help. That might help you actually step up and take the microphone and do whatever you're called to do, and then share your beautiful message. My third tip for you today is to really anchor yourself in that perspective that if I'm coming from my heart, I basically can't do anything wrong. Because you can't be responsible for how the message is received. That's beyond your control. You can't be all over, like calling each person, like, did this message receive well in you? Your task or your assignment is just to share from your heart. Whatever job you're at or in, your assignment is to come from the heart and share what you have to say and do what you have to do, as long as it comes from the heart. Because when it does, it's coming from this high vibrational state of being. And trust that. Trust that. If it's coming from fear, then that's something else. But if you're sharing from the heart, you are not responsible for how that other person is receiving it. To simplify it, you came from the right place in you. And that's all you can do. That's your responsibility. The fourth suggestion that I would like to share with you today is that I would invite you to trust that you would have never received that gift, that message, that thought, that inspiration, that urge to share something if it wasn't for you to share. If it wasn't someone out there who needed what you have to provide. Like I said in this morning show that I went to, I never had a dream about opening a bakery. And one in my event that I'm having now, I have two people actually who have bakeries and they are baking with love, and I love that. That's their dream. That's their calling. We have different callings. So I have never gotten that thought of opening a bakery. It's not, my thing. So these inspirations that you're getting, these thoughts, these callings, these dreams, these urges, these inspirations are for you. So let's say that you get a thought that you're inspired to start something. If you don't then follow that calling, that inspirational thought may go to someone else. So take those signs seriously. Don't rationalize it away. They're meant for you to actually take action on. Otherwise, you would never have gotten that inspiration. And that can also be a help when it comes to overcoming that imposter syndrome. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspired you to really step forward into your light and do what you were called to do on this planet, that you were born to do. And I would love for you to join me on my 8 days event that starts tomorrow and is totally free. And by the end of these 8 days, you can also decide if you want to continue working with me and several transformational teachers that I collaborate with in order to expand your consciousness and become more who you are. Thank you for watching, guys, and remember to shine the light that you are and to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Much light from here.